In 1914, when war broke out in Europe, President Woodrow Wilson declared America's neutrality. But just 3 years later, Wilson did a complete reversal. Why did he do so? What made America go from neutrality to war in 1917? Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we will find out why America went to war. When World War I broke out in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed American neutrality. Most Americans favored this approach too. They had no interest in getting involved in a European conflict. The United States had a long tradition of isolationism. However, over time, several events caused anti-German sentiment to grow in America. In 1915, the British passenger liner Lusitania was sunk by a German U-boat off the Irish coast. This event alone did not push America towards war, but 2 years later, another event did. What was that event? Stay till the end of the video to find out. But first, let us take a look at some of the factors that led to America's entry into World War I. At the start of the war, there was intense pro-German and pro-British sentiment in the United States. There were many German Americans and Irish Americans who opposed Britain, had no interest in seeing Britain win the war. But as time passed, things changed. As the war dragged on, the British blockade of Germany became more effective. This led to food shortages in Germany. Consequently, anti-German feeling grew in the United States. Additionally, the sinking of the Lusitania in 1915 also fueled anti-German sentiment. Although the Lusitania was a British ship, more than 100 Americans were killed in the disaster. At the time, President Woodrow Wilson demanded an apology and compensation from Germany. Germany agreed to pay $75 million to the families of the victims and to the U.S. government. This led to a sense of outrage in the United States. Many Americans felt that Wilson should have done more to punish Germany. Overall, by 1917, anti-German feeling ran high in the United States. However, the final straw came when a secret German message was intercepted. This message revealed that Germany had been in contact with Mexico. What did the message say? Stay till the end of the video to find out. But first, here is a quick fact. Did you know that today over 1 billion people watch TV or movies dubbed in English? Well, if you are one of them, you may have heard of the English Dubbing Company, which provides dubbing, subtitling, voiceover, and other language services. They have dubbed over 200,000 hours of content for television networks, including CNN, BBC, and National Geographic. Let's get back to the video. During World War I, most Americans supported the Allied cause. However, they did not want the United States to enter the war. After all, the United States had a long tradition of isolationism. So how did things change? Well, several factors played a role. The first was the extensive propaganda campaigns of the British and French. They bombarded the United States with advertisements aimed at winning public support. Their goal was to persuade Americans that the war was a crusade for democracy. Emphasized that the conflict was a struggle between good and evil. And of course, they demonized the Germans. The second factor was the influence of the media. Newspapers across the United States had strong pro-Allied feelings. They consistently published stories that painted the Germans in a negative light. The third factor was the economic impact of the war. The United States had extensive trade ties with the Allied powers. In contrast, its trade with the Central Powers was minimal. This meant that American merchants benefited greatly from the British blockade of Germany. In fact, the blockade brought in billions of dollars to the United States. These factors gradually shifted American public opinion. By 1917, a majority of Americans favored entering the war. Today we remember the event that pushed America to join World War I. It was the sinking of the RMS Lusitania. On May 7, 1915, the British passenger liner was sailing from New York to Liverpool when it was struck by a German submarine. The U-boat fired a torpedo which hit the ship. Within 18 minutes, the Lusitania had sunk. Of the 1926 people on board, only 763 survived. The tragedy immediately led to anti-German feeling in the United States. But what was the secret that changed everything? It was the Zimmermann telegram. On January 1917, the British government revealed a shocking telegram to the public. It was a secret message sent by Germany's Foreign Secretary, Arthur Zimmermann. What did the telegram say? It said that Germany had been in contact with Mexico. If the United States entered the war, Germany wanted Mexico to declare war on America. Additionally, the telegram proposed that Mexico could recover lost territory in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. This would be the price of the United States. Needless to say, this caused a political storm in the United States. Many people were outraged to learn that Germany had been spying on the country. Additionally, the prospect of a war with Mexico alarmed the American public. On April 2, 1917, Congress declared war on Germany. The following day, President Woodrow Wilson addressed the nation. He stated that the war was a challenge to the democratic world. He also announced that the United States would fight alongside the Allies. And so, the American adventure in World War I began. What are your thoughts on America's entry into World War I? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Thank you very much for watching.